Welcome, I'm Chris McKean.
And I'm Andy Kiner.
Here we're all about cross-country racing, and typically it starts with 10 seconds.
But not in Iowa. In Iowa, it starts with hands-on helmets.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Quite the week, right?
Oh, boy. That's putting it mildly.
Man, first race of the season was this past Saturday. Beautiful turnout. Got some sunny weather, little chilly with the and some wind on during the race, but other than that, it was good.
You were surely wind burnt when you got home, weren't you?
I was wind burnt. I've got got a little bit of a cold sore from that very cold race, but we'll survive.
Yeah, seeing everybody that next day in pictures. My wife looks like a raccoon with the wind burn from up there at scoring. So you guys were kind of out in the middle of every bit of it.
Yep. And we had to adjust on the fly. That was something we'll probably discuss, kind of how things went from our perspective, from the crew's perspective, how registration went and how scoring went overall. Good track. I think I've heard several compliments about how the track was done and how hard the crew worked. So,
who worked?
The track crew besides you.
Oh. Yeah, I haven't heard anything really about scoring. I guess that's a good thing because when you hear something, it's usually bad. So
that's a good thing. So we were able to keep everything hidden that happened, right?
That's right.
No, we had some hiccups. Well, we can be transparent. Overall, it went good. We had some issues with transponders, and our overall winner had some issues with his transponder. So he did not score the whole race. We figured that out pretty early on, and it was every time he came through, it was a manual process. And we had to kind of look at and compare the backup scoring to our scan sheet. So there was a little hiccup there about fourth, fifth lap. But we got it corrected in the end and fixed everything. And overall, everything turned out okay.
Not to get ahead of us here, but I got to ask you, what'd you think when you pulled in the driveway?
First, I didn't recognize it at first that it was that long of a driveway. But then once we got to that first crossing, I'm like, yeah, it kind of brought back the memories.
It's funny. I heard people talk about how nice it was, and I heard people say, you thought that was really nice. I'm like, but you just had to be here the last time we raced, A lot of people don't know that, when we found that track, it was awesome. It's a good track, but that's why we pulled out the first time. Was we did it 2 years in a row, and that was all dirt. The first two times we were there, it was all dirt. And that crossing that you kind of know where the crossing is when you come in, but that all built up. Exactly. That's all. It was about 15 feet lower than it was this time. And they put that big culvert in that was all washed out. So they had to do something with that. And then just within the last week before the race, they brought all that rock in all the way from the road, all the way back there. And I think it was when my mother-in-law maybe got there. She was like, that road just kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, give Mike and them guys credit down there. It may not look like it's not your 2-lane highway coming in, but boy, compared to what it used to be, it was phenomenal. And I didn't really see any issues with the drive all day. It's kind of one way, but everybody got along real well. So
you take your turn coming in and out. I didn't, even the big rigs made it in. Okay. And we got most of them to solid ground.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic. We don't spend that much time talking about the entrance of a track, but this one is just it was that big of a deal for us. So
We do have quite the guests on tonight. I think every time you keep adding and more guests. So we can do up to 10, Andy. We're up to 5 tonight.
Well, we're gonna have to work on that.
Challenge
You
to
know,
you.
when we were talking, Chris, I
Yep.
first shot you a message. I think it was 3 or 4, and then it was 6, and then we agreed to 5, and
Yeah.
went to 4, back to 5, and there's just so much happened at this race. So many good things happened at this race, from not just the racing, but from just sportsmanship and everything. There's just so much to talk about. I wish we had a 10-hour podcast. I guarantee we could fill it.
Yeah, we certainly could, and a lot of sportsmanship. And it's nice to see, after we kind of get back and get to kind of decompress after Saturday. Nice to see everybody else's post out there. If you do end up posting, just tag us, tag the series in your post, and we can see it, and we can all kind of like reflect and see how everybody's individual race went. Because we
Absolutely
capture 200 individual racers all throughout the day. But,
yeah. No, it was cool. Definitely a good race, and
yep.
I definitely want to answer as many questions, or someone wants to give a shout out or something to somebody. There's just so much that happened, and so many good things. I was so proud of everybody from the first race to the last race.
Just throwing that up there real quick, Andy. The answer, Sean, is yes.
Oh man, here we go. Yeah, here we go.
I think there's been a couple trips, 7-8 hour trips that you and I have been on. You could fill the whole time.
Well, I think, Chris, you and I seen firsthand last year. It's a 10-hour. Yep. Walker Fowler and Johnny and Mark Notman doing the talking, and them having to go take a couple breaks. I say having to, but boy, we seen why. I mean, it's just a lot to go on and on, for that, but it definitely deserves it. But when you and I was able to fill in for him, I mean, that is a lot of talking. But I think, I don't know if we have another race as good as this one and not one side-by-side breaks, out in the timber, maybe we should do that. The following day, we'll just go right into a 10-hour podcast. And it's silence. He says, I ain't doing that.
I don't have a good comeback for that one. I don't know about you, but I'm drained after a Saturday race. It just takes me a little bit to decompress and kind of my stress level's a little up on Saturday, making sure everything's on track. And believe it or not, scoring was we had some questionable moments there, but we're spot on this race.
Yeah, I'm super proud of everybody. Like I said, top to bottom, all the crew, whether it be the people at the gate, especially the ones in the trailer. There's a lot going on in that registration trailer this time, and I never heard one complaint, Chris. Not one complaint. I'm sure they didn't want to be standing out there. Typically they get in a lot quicker, but that first race, and we had a nice turnout, and the girls got them in very quickly. I was really happy with, like I said, with everything. I don't have one complaint.
Yep, and we'll talk about that later. Kind of some continuous improvements that we're going to do. We got a game plan, another game plan and set. So we'll see if we can keep speeding along that registration process for everybody.
Yeah. So what do you have planned for this time? Fill me in.
For this time.
For this podcast, who are we going to talk to first?
Well, we have Chance Collison first that's going to join us, talk about how his race went and the youth class or youth session. After that, we have Kendall Moore and family. I see both Dad and Kendall Mohler, not Moore, Mohler, sorry. It's going to join us with both Mom and Dad. Joshuwa Shoemake is going to join us with his son Ethan and daughter Trenity.
Sorry, did you say Shoemake or Shoemaker?
Shoemake.
Shoemake. Okay.
Oh man, my aunt. After that, we do have Rob Badavinac. You know the name. Badavinac.
Sorry, Rob. I'm gonna nail it every time. I've messed it up. I've slaughtered it so many times. for both Rob and Braun. I think that's on help me is having two of them on the podium pretty much all the time. Badavinac.
I know you were trying to teach me how to say it. I slaughtered it every time, Rob. I apologize.
From Pengelly, Minnesota.
And then to recap, we have Dan Hill that's going to join us at the very end of the podcast or towards the end, talk about both his run on the utility and his run at the UTV class.
We had a couple of them do that this weekend.
Yeah, couple.
You know, the Hornaday, Brock Hornaday. Yep. So that was definitely you remembered if you did double duty at this track. That's for sure.
Now we'll see. See what Dan has to say. All right. So are we ready to bring Chance along?
Let's do it.
How's it going?
There he is.
Chance.
Should we say welcome, Chance, or should we say welcome, Champ?
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. You that was your first win, correct?
First podium.
First podium. That's
wow.
hard to believe because you've been close several times, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah. Chance, how long have you been racing with us?
This is my 4th year.
Fourth year. Wow.
I'll say that I saw you determined, man. Your head was down during this race and you were on a mission. Like I can look in the kids' eyes. That's most of the time when I can be out of the trailer. I can kind of see how you guys are doing, check on you. But man, I cheer you guys on, but cheering you on, you straight face, stone face. You were looking straight ahead. You're on a mission to keep pace.
Yep. Tried.
You know, Chris, I'm not gonna lie. I honestly did not see you very many times at all, Chance. And the reason being is how many inches have you grown from last year to this year?
A lot.
Exactly. There's a couple times I looked, it's like, who is that? And they're like, okay, that's Chance. I got it. So
yeah.
I only knew by the number, to be honest with you, though. I just didn't even recognize you've grown so much. But very cool. So Chance, this your family's been with us for some time racing. You said 4 years, is that right?
Yeah.
But you have a family member that's been racing with us a lot longer than that, though, haven't you?
Yep.
And who's that?
Joey Miklas.
Joey Miklas, our champ last year, too, for the Open 4x4.
Mm-hmm.
Did that help get you into racing?
Yeah, he helped us get into racing, and he still helps us with working on the four-wheelers and getting set up and getting ready on the line and all of it.
That's got to help, doesn't it? Having somebody like that to be around.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, at what point of this race did you say to yourself, "I truly believe I can get this. This could be my race"?
I don't know, to be honest.
You started clicking some. You had a really good start, right?
Second off the start, yeah.
That was good.
And then you were clicking times off this right away, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. JC clipped a tree right into the woods, and then I just passed and put my head down.
And then you led from there on, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So that was what corner did that happen?
It was that super tight one with those little trees, kind of by the water fence.
We got a name for that, but I better not say that right now. We'll call them son of a gun. That's what we called that section. Son of a gun. Yeah.
So Chance, I saw a nickname being thrown out this week. What is your nickname that everybody calls you?
Twirtle.
What? How? And did you get that nickname? Who gave it to you?
Travis Brandt. And I don't really know how it started. It might be the way I say it or something. I don't know. But after this race, it got changed to Wabbit.
Because you're a lot faster, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
You don't hang around with the Brants, do you?
Oh, I do a little bit.
Yeah. That's got to keep things interesting.
Yeah, always.
Do you learn something from being over there?
Yeah, I learn a lot.
Very cool. Very neat. So tell us a little bit about what you thought of the track. It was definitely, I think, different than what you're used to.
I liked it a lot. It was a really good track, I thought.
A little tight.
A little bit, but there was also, like, it evened it out with the open sections.
Oh, very cool. Did you ever have any issues deciding which way to go down those cricks? Most of the time, there's about two different ways to go.
Oh, I kind of just snaked through it and found the best way to get around the 90s.
Did a lot of them kind of let you by, or were they getting pretty racy too?
There were some of them that let you by, and some of them got racy.
Yeah. That makes it fun, don't it?
Yep.
Very cool. So what track are you looking forward to this year?
I really like Fort Dodge.
Okay.
Oh, handy. It's coming up next.
Yep.
So you've mentioned two of the rockiest tracks that we get to.
Yeah. I like
Is
the
rock-
open at Fort Dodge. It kind of just flows.
Gotcha. That was the youth track of the year last year, Chris.
Yes, it was. Youth and we always were. Wasn't UTV track of the year?
Correct. Yeah. Won 2 of the 3 categories.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you've got some other family members too that race, correct?
Correct.
In what class? And tell us their name and their class.
Ryan, and he races in the 90 stock class.
90 stock. Is he one of them that wouldn't let you by?
No, he let me right by. I talked to him before the race.
Just you, right? Just let me by.
Yep.
So you've been racing now for 4 years. Anybody else in your school race besides your brother? What's the kids think, or do they know that you're racing?
Yeah, they know I'm racing, and they think it's all easy and stuff, but I just try not to listen.
Yeah. I would say they're probably jealous.
Right.
So now, do they know that you won your first race then?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to get them to come out and say, check this race or check this sport out.
Right.
So who's some of the people you got helping you, Chance?
Mom, Dad, Joey, and Papa Joe. Caitlin helps a lot, my dad's wife. Vision Electric helps us out a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it.
Well, you keep doing what you did last Saturday, and you'll have a lot more coming on board.
Right.
We got to give it thanks to your dad. Your dad's stepped up every time we've ever asked him to help us, and he's been out there during our short course races and during our hare scrambles. And just got a really tight-knit family there behind you that's always willing to help, it seems like. So we sure appreciate that.
Yep.
So cool. So going into the second race, you've got the points lead, and you're going into your favorite track. If you have to pick a track, of course, you don't know 2 of them because they're brand new tracks. But what's the one track that if you had to say, I'm going to hold my breath this race, that maybe you haven't had the best luck, or something, where would that be?
Either Mount Pleasant or Murray when it gets real dusty.
Real dusty. Yep. Both of them are really good tracks, but yeah, it's funny how some people, it's like a love or hate relationship with the track, So I'll bet you the way you're driving now, though, I'll bet you all that changes for you this year.
I hope so.
He's like, what's the goals? Is the gold championship now?
Trying for it.
Got those bugs worked out because you had some issues last year, right? With your machine.
A lot of clutch issues.
Some gremlins here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'd be kind of nice. It's your time to come out and shine, and it's a good class. I mean, you got Trayton Akers in that class. Bregan Mathis, or Braylon Mathis, Oliver Yarrington, Cade Albee. I mean, those are that's some really good talent. And then I'm also seeing Taylon Davis in that one. So you got, back in the 50s, some good talent. Bring all of you jumping up to the 90 production all at the same time. So it could go either way. You just got to keep that machine up and running, make sure it's maintenance, and give her a go at the next track.
Yep.
I just realized something, Chris. Not only did you get your first win, but you also got on your first overall podium too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wow, you just you buy lottery? You should have went and had your dad buy you a lottery ticket that day.
Right.
You did real well, bud. I was proud of you.
Thank you.
So cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Chance. I know that
Thanks for having me.
Always leave the door open. I'll invite. That's just because you're on once doesn't mean you can't come back a second time. So we'll see how your season goes, and we'd like to have you back.
I'd love to be back.
All right. Well, we'll see you Fort Dodge round 2.
Yep. See you then.
All right. Thanks, bud.
Yep.
Thanks, Champ.
Thanks, Champ.
Yeah, it was neat to see him have a good race. That was.
Yeah, like I said, you could see the determination on his face when he come through scoring. I mean, straight faced. He wasn't taking his eye off of what's in front of him. So good job.
Very cool.
So we're gonna jump from one champ to another champ, right? So the next one up is our 50. Oh, what is she? 50 stock champion. She got also a whole shot this race. So it's something.
Very cool.
Yeah. I don't know if you're reading. All right. So we want to go ahead and bring her on. We have Kendall.
Yeah.
With her dad, Joe.
Looky there. There's the Girl Scout cookie flying on a quad sticker giving girl. Huh?
Sticker?
Yeah. We went out to eat the other night and seen him at the restaurant. Gave me a dump truck sticker, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I owe you an apology too. I want to get that out right away because you know what didn't get put on my four-wheeler last weekend?
What?
You gave it to me. Guess what it was?
The dump truck sticker?
Nope. Something before that.
What was it?
Andy.
Oh, yeah.
Andy.
Yeah.
Toy Story.
Andy. Toy Story thing.
So tell me about that really quick. I don't know if Chris knows about this. Tell me what the meaning behind that was, will you? So everybody knows.
Every time, like after a race, normally with the 90s, it was like all everybody was at the start while you were still finishing podium, and then whenever you would come, everybody would be like, Andy's coming, and that's what they do in Toy Story, and then they all drop dead.
Nice.
Yeah, that's Woody you gave me, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one that says Andy's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Woody was stuck in the trailer. So he'll be back out there next race, I promise you, okay?
Okay.
All right. The bad thing is Woody didn't get to see a very famous little girl pick up her first win. Maybe we should keep him in the trailer every race. Maybe that was your good luck charm.
She's like, so let me get this straight. It's an Andy doll, right?
It's a Woody doll.
Or excuse me, a Woody doll. And you guys are about the same size?
Speechless.
That was good.
Score.
I dish it out. I got to take it. That was good.
So Kendall, kind of, you and I had a nice conversation Friday, and you were super nervous in that interview that you gave me. You seem a little bit more energized. It's that one kind of changed your life now.
Sure.
Sure.
So,
Oh.
so Kendall, this was you picked up your very first win, right?
Mhm.
How did that feel?
It felt like weird, kind of.
Did you know that? Did you know that you were in the lead at the end there? You did. And what was that last lap? Was it going through your head thinking, I can't let this slip away, or what was you thinking that last lap?
I was kind of scared that he would pass me because there was a whole bunch of lap traffic through when we were going through the before scoring, and I felt like one of the lap traffic would like go in front of me and then stop me, and then he would pass me.
Yeah, I could see that being pretty nervous that last time.
Yeah.
But boy, you pulled it out and you got your first win. And I don't know who was smiling more, you or your dad.
Yeah. And
So-
Andy, we don't keep an official overall for the 50s, but if we did, Kendall would have got the overall as well.
Very nice.
So she was, by 20 some seconds.
And that's out of the 50 stock class. So you were
Yeah.
able to not only beat, how many was there in that class? I can't remember.
There's 9 in that class.
There's 9 in your class, but then you also got in front of all the 50 productions, the DRRs and stuff. That's pretty impressive, Kendall.
Thank you.
You keep that up, and as many boxes of cookies you sell, next year we're liable to buy a box of candy or cookies and see your picture of you delivering cookies on your 4-wheeler, huh? So Kendall, you got a pretty cool family, don't you?
Yeah.
So I don't know if a lot of people, I think more and more people realize it, but with racing over the weekend, sometimes you come in and you're just chilling, having fun and stuff. And that's usually not what happens in your pits, is it? Your dad's out working from the time he gets there till way after the race. And this race, and not just this one, but I've seen you out there several times on your dad's 4-wheeler out there helping us before the races and stuff. And we were cutting wood and everything. And you guys just always, you work your butts off, but then it seems like somehow, some way, you always have fun in the pits, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
The most popular campfire in the whole pits is right there at your place, isn't it? Seems like you guys always have the good food and the campfire and the dogs to play with. You just got the whole package, don't you, for a race weekend?
Well, the great advantage of the wind on Thursday, they all got kites out between the Mathises, and was that Friday? That was Friday.
That was Friday.
Got kites out, and that was pretty fun to watch.
Oh,
Yeah, I would almost agree with you. It's fun to watch, but I probably won't drive around your wife anymore when she's flying the kites.
Oh, I didn't hear this story.
That can be a little scary with the dive bombing that goes on.
Well, maybe you should have been on the track working instead of up lollygagging in the
Oh,
you
man.
beat me to the punch, Joe. I was working on it over here.
pit.
I'm slipping. I'm opening
It was
the
in
door.
the pits versus the track. Okay.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. But nope. Kendall, you had a heck of a job. You've been so close so many times. You've been second several times, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yep. Very cool. Start the year off with the win and what could be considered a first overall. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And you're one of the few people, when I say few, outside of myself, it's you and your mom and dad's the only ones that's seen one of the new tracks. And so are you excited to get down there and see the new track in Weldon?
Yeah.
Do some hill climbing.
If you had to tell somebody about that track, what's the first thing you would say?
About the track that we went to last weekend?
No, the one in Weldon. where you guys went and rode the side by side?
Lots of hills.
Lots of hills. Yeah, there's a lot of elevation change. That's why I've been telling everybody about that place. So,
did you get a chance to go on the motocross track? No.
I think so, at least.
No, I think he was still working on that a little bit.
Okay.
Very cool. Well, Kendall, who would you like to thank for sponsors?
My mom.
Oh, there's Daisy. Daisy's like, you ain't doing something racing without me being there.
Truck driver / dad. Grandma Rosie, Grandpa and Grandpa, JT Concrete, Iowa Fire, Aim High Automotive, all the track workers, and Andy and Tracy.
Wow.
I like how you said Andy before Tracy.
Whoa.
And when he can't figure out something, we go to Brad.
Oh.
So is that like every day you have to go to Brad?
Oh, come on, Chris.
Just asking for a friend. So,
Well, Kendall, I see all your awards that you've gotten up above you there. That's pretty cool. You're getting a whole wall full, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. I still have more downstairs.
Do you? Well, you keep going like you did last weekend, and you're going to have to get a whole new wall just for your first place ones, aren't you? Well, Joe, definitely want to say thanks to you, bud. You've busted out a lot of tracks and working, and a lot of people don't. It's funny, you know what I'm going to say here, but when we get a new person coming to help us, it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. And about halfway through the weekend, it's like, holy cow, here we go again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's a lot of fun. Enjoy it. It's love watching the kids go. As far as I'm concerned, as far as when the kids get done, you can call it a weekend.
It'd be a lot easier that way, wouldn't it?
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Well, very cool.
Thanks again for giving us the opportunity to be a part of the series and let us do what we do. It's created a lot of memories for sure.
Yes.
Yep. No, we sure appreciate, you guys' involvement and everything. And I know we say it all the time, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. We couldn't do it without each and every one of you. Everybody's got their spot, and you know how it is. If someone's gone, it changes the whole system. So
it does. Yeah.
We definitely appreciate all you guys do. And we know it takes a lot as a family too. We ask what we are there to do. It takes you away from your family, and thank God you're one of the lucky ones, that you have the family and Ma and Daisy and everybody traveling with you. So it's kind of a home away from home for you guys.
For sure. Yep.
So very cool, man. Well, we sure appreciate it. Kendall, we want to thank you especially for coming on. Well, both of you we want to thank, but congratulations, girl, on that first win.
Thank you.
All righty. You're like the most famous ATV racer in Ankeny, right? Huh?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Man, first two guests are first two winners.
Yes. Yes.
I should say not first two winners, but two first-time winners.
Yes.
Put a lot of time in, and
I mean,
cool to see them.
And it's good to see all the kids. Everybody can't win, right? So it's kind of like you're happy at the moment for that individual racer, because in my eyes, I like to see all the kids win.
Absolutely.
But let's kind of see how they brighten up a little bit. Kendall and I did a quick interview Friday. I don't know if I'll release that interview yet, but kind of see her. She was so shy and talking to me. But tonight she's kind of lightened up a little bit. And we'll kind of see. I'm going to continue to interview her this year and kind of see what I can get out of her, what material we can go with. But I mean, couldn't do what we do without Big Joe, as we call him, and Paul, Bad Brad, Brent, all the other track crew. They take you 4 days to build that track, all 3 tracks.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a lot of redesigning and a lot of new stuff going in there at the last second. They made some changes. As example, like for Kendall's class or race, the guys went out there and just didn't feel comfortable with the course we had laid out for the 70s, 90s to make it smaller. They went out and laid out a whole new track. I believe that was Friday. They laid out a whole brand new track for just the 50s. So it's not an easy deal. I mean, it puts a lot into it, and them guys, they don't care if it takes more work. They want to make sure it's right. Like you say, they do a great job.
All right. So we had 2 first time winners. We'll bring on our third guest here, and I believe he's be our 3rd first time winner, if I'm correct here. So let's go ahead and welcome Josh, Ethan, and Trenity. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Boy, I see a race family and I see a race shop.
Always building something in here.
There's a lot of history back there, isn't there?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of holding the flashlights for Dad. Is that right?
Yeah.
Usually it's just me out here.
Oh, yeah.
They're in there playing video games or on their phone. I'm getting
Well.
everything ready normally.
Oh,
Well, the way all 3 of you guys race this weekend, you guys better be learning something about that machine, because hard as you all were riding, you may need to make something on the fly work out there in the track.
It's a very good chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it for you guys knowing that Dad can show you all that stuff? Yeah. Still learning.
Very
That's
appreciated.
okay. Yeah.
yeah. I remember, my boys are kind of moved on, but our time in the garage was trying to at least get them to do tire pressures. So their responsibility was tire pressures and then power washing. So everybody had to power wash their own machine.
We do that.
Sundays. So
We do.
You race it, you ride it, and it does not go in the shop dirty. It guys come in clean, so when I work on it, I'm not having mud everywhere and cussing at it, and it's got to be a clean machine.
Yep. Sundays were always about cleaning, clean the trailer, gear, everything. So yeah, it's a family event at the track and also at home getting ready for the next one. So
Yep.
Chris, I got a quick question for you. It's what you just said. You said that the kids at yours was racing with you. Your boys they were in charge of air pressures,
tire pressures. Yeah.
tire pressures. Who taught them about that?
Here for your first time. Yeah.
Who taught them how to? So Josh, first place in the B
Josh,
class.
I don't know if you heard this, but I got to explain it really quick.
Oh,
He walked into this one. He said that his boys were all about, learning tire pressures. There was this one day, I'm going to tell this as a friend's point of view, but there was this guy, I won't say it was me, that was racing GNCC at the Ironman for the first time ever. And he had this crew chief, so to speak, and his name was, let's just call him Chris. Okay. And he was in charge of checking air pressures. Okay. And we go rolling up to the line. I believe it was Mike Penland, Scott Kilby. We go rolling up there, and Chris is riding over with me, and we roll up to it. And one of them asked me, Andy, you got a flat front tire there. Thank God I had my guy that's checking my tire pressures with me so we could run back and make an adjustment, I guess, in them. So
that's the first thing I check. Even if I tell them to check it, I still check it anyway.
Yeah, it's important. It really is.
Yeah. That, and I tighten the lug nuts too. Just you just don't know.
Yep.
This is my first. I raced the two at Murray, just kind of get a feel of it. This is my first going to be full season, so I've never done this before. This is new. I'm a bike guy, and so it's it's a whole new world. So I'm just trying to learn the machines. I'm trying to learn the racing people. It's a lot to take in at first, but it's been really fun.
So you definitely get to know your machine a little bit better on this style of racing, don't you?
Yeah, you do have to tear it down a little bit more than the bikes, but I enjoy it. That's kind of my peace of mind. I get it, come out from supper and like turn on my music and just kind of exit the world and just be in here and mess with everything.
Yeah. Huh. So the kids, have you guys raced before? Is this your first time?
We raced twice at Murray.
Sure.
They joined
Yep.
us 2023 round 6
And
at Murray.
I did my Kansas series.
Okay.
So down in Kansas, they have it's like a pit bike motocross track series that this guy is trying to get going on. Nothing bigger than a 110 down there. And he went and did the series on his little Polaris 110 last year.
Okay.
And we kind of thought everything was good. He was breaking swing arms left and right. I couldn't keep the thing put together. Then we went to the Iowa series and he was the first Murray race, or well, your guys' second Murray race, our first one. And he was out racing on it and doing a pretty good job. And one of the dads come up to me and goes, you need to get one of them TRX 90s. And I was like, oh, explain this to me. I don't know anything about it. And so after that race, I was on the hunt and I found one. So with a Polaris 110 is gone and well, it's here, but it's no longer a race machine. And now he's on a TRX 90 stock.
Gotcha. Do you like it better, bud?
Yes, I do.
Like the shifting?
Mm-hmm.
Was that hard to adapt to? Did you pick it up pretty quick?
Picking up pretty quick.
Yeah. Very cool.
Good choice with the Honda.
Yeah, very good. Are we going to see Dad on that Honda 90 this year?
No.
I don't think so.
That came out pretty quick.
Yeah. I had a long time thinking about this. I'm like, man, in my older days, I would be like, yeah, I'll do that. But then I'm like, oh, I want him to have a successful year and I don't want to break it. So, because I have to work on it. So I'll just leave it at that.
Very cool.
So from a newcomer's perspective, I think you're the first one that we've had on the podcast so far. What do you guys think of the series so far?
It's been really open arms and really welcoming. And at first trying to figure out all the classes and the age groups and stuff. I'm not used to that at all, so we were trying to make sure we had all of our P's and Q's before we showed up. So we didn't look kind of lost and out of place. We kind of knew what we were doing, but we really didn't, kind of thing. Okay. So
yeah,
other than that, it's been really fun. We have a 3-mile course right in our backyard of flat woods and trees and stuff. And we always riding down there. So everything that the kids have ridden has been wide open side-by-side style trails. And we get to Trenton and they're like, oh, it's going to be tight. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. And it was awesome. It was a really fun course. And I was really impressed for Trinity. She's never rode anything like that before. And same with Ethan. So it's a good eye opener for sure.
So Trinity, what kind of machine do you ride in the junior class?
Raptor 2.
Raptor 2.
Raptor. Gotcha.
And I'll tell you, Trinity you'll hear it sometime throughout the year. I talk about it all the time, and I'm very proud. And I kind of hate to brag, but I'll always brag on our junior class. And our junior class, no matter where we go across the country, I feel like if we took our top 10 of our junior class, I mean anywhere in the country, that's a GNCC or anywhere, I believe that we would have. I just think that we would have a great showing. So you're racing and get some of the best, I think, in the country when it comes to that junior class. And man, correct me if I'm wrong, but you got 8 in your class this weekend?
I did.
And how many was there? Like 15 or something?
Yeah,
something like that.
That's real respectable. So yeah, very impressive.
Thank you.
How did you get along with the rocky cricks and stuff?
At first lap, I would say it wasn't my favorite, but as I got to know the track a little bit better, around the second and third lap, I started to enjoy it.
Very cool. Is it your favorite track this year so far?
Well, I'm really stuck on some very race.
So
Yes,
far.
for this year.
Oh,
so-
this year. So yeah, technically, yes.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Like I said, this is usually it used to be that we had the way our tracks were set up is almost like the hardest one was at the end of the year, especially our youth track. And this year, I truly believe that probably one of the toughest tracks was thrown at you just right at the very beginning. So you've definitely passed that test right off the get-go.
It was a lot of fun, that's for sure. It was something none of us have ever ridden in, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
So Ethan, you were in the 90 stock class. You guys had 29 machines in that class. What was your first thought when you saw that line?
It was super crazy seeing out that much 90s, and it was like the first turn. There's quads like almost on the top, almost. So it was different for me for those 90s.
Yeah, we had a little hiccup around that first corner. I think a couple of them got into it, kind of a little backup, but you guys all handled it well. Everybody got through it clean. Nobody got hurt. I think our second place, Nicholas, was towards the back there, and he came back through the field and got second in the class. But yeah, overall, that is a class that, I always like the 90 stock. We always talk about it because all the machines should be equal. It's all about the individual racer. So,
Chris, I think the person that loves that class the most is the dad. The one that's the one machine that you can change the oil once a year and wash it and go to bed and not have to worry about anything.
I'm learning that really fast, that it's a very reliable four-wheeler.
There's a couple things you got to do to that 90, but yeah, pretty much, yeah. Just wash it and oil filter.
It was kind of hard to find tires for it without changing rims and stuff like that, So it was also a learning curve trying to find things like that for them. So I found them, and I'm not changing these all year. This little thing will stay on this tire all year.
Yeah. So Josh, you said this was I know you said you raced Murray last year and stuff, but obviously first time to this track, and you've already mentioned the tightness of the track and stuff. Throughout the day, I mean, we give you probably 150 feet of track. Well, I guess you get through that first set of the what I call it, the parking or the pit area. But then once you go through that gate and you get into the actual track itself, you get approximately 150 feet. And then all of a sudden she's tightened up big time right away.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me back into like when I race bikes all the time. I'm okay with tight stuff. I didn't want to rip an A-arm or anything, but once I seen that the trees were little and stuff like that, I was like, okay, if I have to run it over, I will, or stuff like that. Or if someone was stuck, like the whole time in my mind, if someone's stuck in front of me, how am I going to get around them without stopping? And so that's where because I raced A and Vet A and the bike series, and you're always looking for a new line just in case. So I was having that going through my mind the whole time I was in that area.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool you point that out, because not a lot of people do. And my boys always, in between races, they are always on their bikes. And I think the bike thing helps you learn on the learn for the four-wheelers too. But what I got at what you just said is that you don't ever race with your head down looking right in front of your bumper. You always have to be
corners ahead of you.
Exactly. Yep. That's real cool to hear you say that, because we don't hear that very often, and lots of times that's what bites people is they're racing just right in front of them and they miss that, so that's pretty cool to hear that. That's, I
try to keep a photographic memory of good things and bad things in a track, as in like, say there's a really tight area and it kicks you really bad. I try to remember that. So I'm coming up next time, like, okay, if I just do this, it'll be a lot better. Or this is super tight. If I just kind of stop here, like slow down here and get into the corner a little better, it won't be as rough. And by the second lap, I know the whole track.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just try to memorize it, the whole thing, if I can.
Very cool. So mentioning that, what tell us about your race? Not just the start, but did anything happen throughout the race that changed like your game plan, or come into some big bottlenecks or anything like that? Just tell us a little bit about how your race went.
Really, it was pretty smooth, honestly. I'm used to fighting for my pass, like, because bike guys you got to earn it, because we're always at the front of the lines anyway. So I'm coming in there thinking like, all right, I'm gonna have to figure a way to get around them hard, and then I just kind of do a little holler at them, and usually they just move over. That I've noticed so far. So I try not to be a jerk about it or anything. I try to be patient. I understand some of the places is tight. You can't just move that machine quite over right away. So I try to be patient, but if there's an opening, and I'm gonna show them a wheel, and I'm gonna try to take it. But really, after the start, I think that the kid that got from Aurora, Nebraska, he got the whole shot on me just about by a bike width, and I just kind of wheeled around him around the outside in that long open section before the timber even started. And once I got around him, I put my head down, and I never looked back for the 7 laps kind of thing. I just did not want to let anybody by me. I had a mission for some reason, and I just wanted to go.
Did you find some of the guys, when I say some of the guys in front of you, you came from the B class and took 13th overall. So you definitely went through some, but did you find some of them A guys, double A guys? I
think I got all the way up to 4th in A. There was only 3 A guys in front of me, and I passed a handful of double A's as well. Being the new to the quads, I didn't know what class to go into. I figured Andy Ford, I don't know if you remember him or not, but he is a neighbor to me, and he was a double A guy for years. And Wes Thompson, he's been a lot of help to me as well. And I got the 4-wheeler. I was like, hey, you guys come ride with me. I don't know how fast I am. I need to I don't know where to start. And so they kind of told me, like, they both gave me their opinions. I'm like, all right, I'm going to start in the B class. I could work my way up from there, kind of thing. Yep. And so that's kind of why I'm there, is I just don't know where to go.
Yeah. One thing too, it's motocross traction. Obviously they change too, but you get to some of these tracks that are tight like this and rocky, and it just doesn't, it's not the kind of discipline that some people like, and then you get to the other track and it might be a little bit more open. It might have a couple jumps, but everybody's got their own. So, throughout the year, you see guys up and down, depending on the track and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think you'll see some interesting stuff throughout the year. Yeah.
Like a really tough course for me on the bike in the woods is Logan, Iowa. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a rock quarry, and it is straight up and down. And when you're going down these hills, and if you miss your corner, there's about a 200-foot lake, a deep lake that you're going to go into. And so I'm always constantly, I learned to power down the hills and hit the corners hard. And so when it comes to these tight tracks, I really, I kind of don't push it too hard, but yet stay with the good flow kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know. It's all a learning curve for me. Everything is, even in the A classes on the bike, it's just I'm always learning.
Yeah. So how did you guys do in the pits? Did you meet a lot of people?
We really didn't talk to too many people. We were kind of in the middle. We've never been anywhere that has a big open pit lane like that. I thought that was super duper cool. It was really awesome, actually. I've never seen an experience like that, but we kind of kept to ourselves. Wes and Kelsey Thompson was with us, and we just kind of stayed right there at the trailer. We did talk to the neighboring person a little bit, but not too much.
Well, as you get there throughout the year, branch out, because the cool thing is, if you had a flat tire, your biggest competitor, their team would be throwing one on for you. Everybody just helps everybody. So it's really cool. So
yeah.
Now are you guys there like the night before or just that day?
Just the day. I took a bus and I converted it to a camper. So we talked about starting to bring that, but as of right now, we live far down southwest Iowa. So anything over 3 hours, I think we're just going to get a hotel kind of
Yeah.
thing, somewhere close. If it's within 3 hours, we'll probably just drive up the morning of. But he races at 8:30, so that makes a very long day for me while they sleep in the
Yeah.
truck.
Right.
So, yeah, we're wanting to do the 10-hour for the first time. I think we're going to bring the bus, and we're going to come up early, a couple days early, and kind of just be there and experience the whole thing.
Very
So-
cool. Very cool. Yeah. So, well, man, I can't give you guys enough credit. That's it's really cool to not just have one of you, but to have all three of you racing, with us, and all three of you did just an unbelievable job. I give you a pound of fist, to tell you good job, because that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. So
We appreciate that. Yeah. Ethan, we're going to go. I'm going on a dirt bike trip as of Saturday for a week, and then we come back. And then the following weekend's the Hoosier GNCC. And
Okay,
so
yep.
I'm going to take Ethan to his first ever GNCC on the 90 and let him experience that as well.
yeah,
So he can kind of see a little of everything with it.
very nice. We were out there last year, and I think you've got a good start, because you might have as many people on the line, but 29 people on the line is still pretty darn good. So
A lot.
yeah. So, man, I wish you guys luck out there too. That's always neat to, always, kind of reach out there and do some of that cool stuff like that. And GNCC is always fun. I think we got 5 to 10 guys racing GNCC this weekend for the.
I was going to say about a dozen or so.
Yeah. Down in
Last
Good luck.
GNCC I did was down in Palatka, Florida 9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It's been a while.
Well, towards the end of the year, maybe see how you're feeling for Ironman. There's usually a big group of us that all, try to make it out to the Ironman every year.
Yeah, we're always down to travel. We're not afraid of it.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool. So, well, thank you guys for coming on, man. I think it's just we just really appreciate you guys starting out with us, and get you on the podcast a week after your first race of the year is pretty cool.
Yeah, we appreciate everything you guys do. I'm a club member in a few different dirt bike things, and I know it's not easy. There's a lot behind the scenes that a lot of people don't quite understand, and especially with scoring, I understand that big time, because I'm usually involved with scoring, and so I know when there's a bad thing happening, and I respect you guys 100%. Just like the little chicane thing that was kind of happening in the 90 series. And I'm like, oh man, this could be fixed real easily, or it could be a nightmare all day, kind of thing. So, and you guys did a really good job at adjusting that for the big bikes even and stuff. So, and the track was laid out really well. I love the rock stuff and the challenging stuff and the easy stuff. It was all a lot of fun. So a lot of respect to you guys for sure.
Very
well,
cool.
Thank you.
I'll be honest with you, Josh. That's something we usually don't get, is a lot of props towards scoring on here. So that's really cool.
Lot, there's a lot to it. And then when it's wrong, then everybody knows about it, but they don't know about it when it's right. So
all right, Josh, send me the bill. I'll pay out.
No, I just understand how it works, and I know it's a lot of work. So I respect you guys for that, especially with the ladies in the sign-up scoring trailer when there's a line and everybody's, why is it taking so long? Well, they're doing what they can. So
Yep.
Yeah. No, we appreciate it. There's a lot goes on behind the scenes, and we're just very lucky to have the team that we do. We just like giving our scoring a little bit of crap on here about them. So obviously we know the track's a lot harder than the scoring. So
I would say this track was probably a tough one to lay out for sure.
Yeah. We have fun. That's all that counts. So well, thank you guys, and we can't wait to see how next weekend or the Hoosier comes out for you.
Yeah, we're excited, so we'll keep everybody updated.
Good luck out there.
All right, thank you.
All right,
thanks. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice to have that fresh new perspective, kind of how things go from a new person. So
Yeah, and seeing like he was just mentioned there, he's been involved with a lot of that kind of stuff. So, he does know what's going on and knows what to expect. And, seeing that perspective of his racing experience, coming through there, he's got a lot of knowledge to hand down to the kids, so
Mhm.
I'd say they're in good hands, it appears like to me.
Yes. We'll see how they progress throughout the year.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So I'm still just blown away every time we talk about that 90 class. Man, it's kind of like our 50s stocks was there a couple years ago before we split them up, you know?
Yeah. What was I think we're averaging last year somewhere 20 to 24. Now we're up to 29. So
that's
good class.
And, you know, it's the most competitive class, no matter how you look at it. Nobody can argue with that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said earlier, they're having stock machines up against, equal machines. That's all comes down to rider. That's what makes that racing so close.
Yep. So we're jumping from the kids to the older adults. No pun intended.
I would have never brought age in.
So our
who are we going to see, Chris? Tell me, Chris, who are we going to see?
Rob Come
on, you can do it.
Badavinac. No, Benedict. I don't.
Badavinac.
How do you say it, Rob?
Badavinac. And he does good.
Oh.
Took a while, but he got her.
Give me a couple more years.
It took me at least 2 years to get that name right. You know, one thing that helped me though, Rob, was with your son and you. You guys are consistently on the podiums, so you guys forced my hands into learning how to say it.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yes, it is. I reached out to your boy. I don't know if you know that. I have him come on with you, but he's going to be on a trip.
He's him and my daughter and my son-in-law went down to Arkansas mountain biking.
Very cool. Yeah. And
so
you didn't station, huh?
Yeah, it's like a long weekend there. You're going to go down there and bike around Bentonville, Arkansas.
Oh, nice. That's got to be fun. That's some neat area down there. So
yeah.
But Rob, this, I don't know how to say this. I mean, you started off. This has been a very odd, like 4 or 5 days for you, hasn't it? We had this thing called the eclipse. Where did you get to see the eclipse?
No, we're too far north.
Oh, so you didn't get to see it?
No, it was cloudy too.
Oh,
okay. And that only happens like once every 24 years. Is that right?
I'm not sure exactly how often. No.
I thought I heard like once every 24 years. And then, just a couple days before that, you're a witness to things that only happens like once in 20 some years, weren't you?
22 years, right? 21 years.
Yeah. With, what's that? It's an orange piece of machine actually taking off.
Yeah.
And getting the whole shot.
Paul. My start was a little less than stellar. Yep. Paul. I saw Paul get a whole shot. Yes.
What did you think at that moment? Was that like something that it's kind of like, I don't want to use some bad instances, but when something big happens, you always remember where you were. Is that something like that you will always remember seeing him get that?
Yeah, if now I will. I was wondering where you're going with that one.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. So
it was a sight to see. Congratulations, Paul.
Yeah, I had to take a step back when I seen him get the whole shot. I was like, wow. So, but Rob, you guys are up there, and I got to tell you something. I'm going to bring on another guy I got a lot of respect for that was one of our early guests on this, and that was Joe Lutz. And speaking with Joe Lutz and stuff after the race Saturday, he went to the A class after winning the plus 40, plus 50, and then he went to the A class, and we were talking about that, and he told me it just wasn't the same. You guys are just so much fun to race with, and everybody I talk to says that you guys are out there to win. Don't get me wrong, but it seems like you guys just have a amount of respect for each other in that class. And, you know, we just see you guys battling, but it's something that you guys can trust each other all the time.
Exactly. Our classes are a very fun class for the reasons you just described. I mean, without Joe around, any given day, there's a handful of us that can win. So we're all real close to the same speed. So it gets real fun.
That's cool. It's always fun to see that. And tell us, Chris can't pronounce where you're from. So will you tell Chris where you're from?
Pengilly, Minnesota.
Pengilly, Minnesota.
Isn't that Pengilly, Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota. we're about an hour and a half south of the Canadian border.
Whoa.
Oh my. So what was it? How long did it take you to get to the Trenton?
I believe it was like 8.5, 9.
Unbelievable.
There's nothing for us close, but it's worth it. We like coming.
Man, I just want to point that out to everybody, how far it is that you guys do make that trip to. And your boy's not too far from you, correct?
He's another hour and a quarter further south of me, so I just usually pick him up along the way.
Gotcha.
Wow.
That puts a whole new dimension in it, doesn't it, Chris?
Yeah, so his home track will probably be Fort Dodge.
Fort Dodge is the closest.
This year.
Wow. Yeah.
I want you guys to go back to Walk On.
Walk On, yeah.
Oh.
That was one of the neatest tracks we've ever had. That was.
I never raced there with you. I raced there with Bill Gussie in the OMA series.
Okay. Yep. A lot of elevation change there, isn't there?
Yes. A lot of off cambers, a lot of elevation.
Yeah. Very cool.
Kind of similar to what we just saw, kind of.
So obviously your race went well. You finished first in the plus 50 and I think 41st overall.
Correct.
Out of 100 and was it
46 or so?
Yeah. That's pretty darn impressive, Rob. So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, you went into this track. It had to have been one of the tighter tracks that we've had in a while.
I kind of tend to like tighter, more technical tracks. I like the rocky creek beds with the different lines. You know, keeps you on your toes, but it gives you options.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was hard bottoms, so you didn't have to worry about getting stuck a lot, just not tearing things up. Right. Although with 2 laps to go, I took a rock to my rear brake lever. The last 2 laps, I didn't have any rear brakes.
Oh no!
So that made some of those downhill off cambers a little more sketchy.
Oh boy, huh? So tell us. I haven't asked anybody else this one, but you mentioned you liked the tight stuff. Name a couple of the sections that you were excited to see when you got there each race or each lap?
Like I said, I like the creek beds, especially the one where you're coming down the hill and you had the option to go around it or down the rocky downhill.
Yeah, that
was interesting. I never did go down it because I was worried about beating the machine up too bad, but the thought crossed my mind, but I didn't feel pressured to do it. Some of the downhill off cambers were interesting and fun and technical. I like those a lot. I made one of my passes on one of the, I don't want to be a downhill left-hander. I just cut it up tight on the uphill side and got around Jim. And then I was following Paul for a while.
Gotcha.
Yep. And that was on the first lap.
Over there, I'd say about 3/4 of the way through the track, you came around that bend to the left and you came into where they had the 2 rock climbs. You had 2 options there. Did you ever take both lanes there?
Yeah, yes. I think I started out on the right side and I wound up on the left side towards the end.
Okay. Yeah. That was pretty interesting. I was down there that very first lap and boy, it was almost a mess seeing people going, choosing which lane to hit. And it was pretty interesting seeing you guys get up there.
Yeah, I saw you down there.
I didn't even recognize you at first until I seen your number again. But man, that's a beautiful quad you got this year.
You get that's the purple Honda.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you figured out, being the new colors and stuff, but once you figured that out, boy, you could see you coming a mile away.
Yeah, the green on the purple sticks out.
Yep. Exactly. So did you have any issues during the race? I know you mentioned your brakes there, but do you have anything with competition or?
The first lap, it was pretty tight. After that, I gapped him a little bit. But then once I lost my rear brakes, I had to slow up. So I was waiting for, Paul or Jim to come knocking on the door. I'm always looking back for orange. I mean, and Jim's got an orange machine also. So I'm constantly looking back, which was nice with no leaves on the trees and some of the hills you could see actually quite a ways.
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't got that overgrowth on there yet. But so how did your overall weekend go? Did you guys camp or did you just come down for the day?
No, we didn't camp because I would have had to unwinterize my camper, then winterized it when I got back up here. So we just hoteled it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Fort Dodge, I'll take the camper out. We'll come down and camp.
Okay. Yeah.
I enjoy the camping part almost as much as racing.
Yeah. I agree. That's meeting the people and having fun and stuff. That's what it's all about for sure.
Exactly. You meet a lot of good people.
Yeah. So how many years you've been with us? Quite a while now. How many years have you been racing with us?
This would be my third full season. Before that, I just come down and as my work schedule allowed it, and I'd hit some here or there. I suppose. What year were you at Montezuma? That was probably my first race with you guys.
Oh boy, Montezuma is a hard pill to swallow. Did you hit
I was at Montezuma when everybody was stuck.
Oh yeah,
the mud race.
Yeah, that is probably one of the top 5 at least mud races we've ever had.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
Braun was a junior.
Okay. Wow.
Dang.
I can't even place that. Would that have been like 12, 13, maybe somewhere around there?
Oh, I think it would have probably been. You're probably somewhere in that neighborhood. Yes.
Huh. I'm just taking a stab at it, but yeah, that was something you don't forget, that race.
Or no, Braun might have been his first year on a big quad, so he would have been 16. So that's 15 years ago.
Wow.
Because he's 30 now.
So that would have been even further back, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
23, 08, 09 then probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's when our series up here was starting to fall apart due to lack of numbers. So we'd come down there and race too.
Gotcha. Huh. Yeah. Well, man, I'll tell you what, it's pretty impressive. I don't like to use age, of course. I don't know if you heard the intro with like Chris pointing out your age and stuff.
I just said older.
And I obviously don't like to do that, Rob, but
this race, I can't say I was at 60 the old guy in the old guy class because Russ Hutchinson showed up, and he's older than I am. Props to him. He's still getting out there and doing her.
Yeah, he's always there, and man, I think he just loves to challenge himself like that, So, right. Very impressive. But you guys are definitely an inspiration. I call you guys the legends, of our sport, and it's fun. Like you said, watching that class, anybody could win it, and it makes a very interesting day. That's for sure.
It's a fun group of guys. It really is.
Yeah. Huh. Well, and you guys, I got to give you credit because you guys take Paul in, and you make him part of your group, and that's really respective right there.
I thought
somebody's got to do it.
I thought it was like Paul offered him like an adult beverage or something if he got his first hole shot or something.
Well, he has done that, the night before.
He's oh
yeah. trying to gain. Yeah, the night before he's offering me a few beverages to get the unfair advantage the next morning.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I just can't see Paul doing that.
No.
Well, Rob, I know we haven't talked about Braun very much, but Braun's made that jump up to the AA class.
Yes,
And,
he's always up for a challenge, and he won the 30+ class, and he's going to go up there and play with those guys, and I expect him to do fairly well.
Yeah, big in AA had what 15 in the class this race.
That was impressive. The front row of this, it was a good turnout, real good turnout.
Yeah, 6 out of 15.
Front two rows. I think he had like almost 30 people.
Yeah. What'd you say, Chris? 6? He was 6 this time?
Braun was 6th overall, yes.
Wow, that's impressive. Rob, you've been around it long enough that you know what I'm talking about here, but there's some people that like to take home a plaque, and I'm not trying to be mean when I say this, but they'll enter a class to be able to get that plaque, and no matter what place, they just want a plaque, and there's some people that really want the competition. And you have to respect that in a person when they're willing to jump like Joe Lutz went from +50 to A class, and your boy jumping from +30 all the way to AA. I mean, that's people that are really saying, hey, number one is to challenge myself, and I want to race, the people that's going to push me. So
yeah, you won't get faster unless you ride with faster people.
Very true. Very true.
You won't, like you said, you won't push yourself,
Yep. So, no, that's pretty cool. What Braun's doing this year, jumping AA. I think that AA is obviously it's the biggest one we've had in a long time, but I think it's one of the toughest ones we've had in a long time. There's a lot of competition in there.
Yeah, it does look stacked, that's for sure.
And I got rumors floating around. We've got a couple more that's going to be at Fort Dodge this next race to make it even tougher. So we're looking forward to watching that class all year long too. I don't know if there's a lot of classes this year, Chris, that's the competition's just there.
There is. I mean, the numbers are there. I think some guys are in the right classes they should be. Yeah, I mean, it makes it exciting for anybody watching. You never know who's going to come by leading the next lap. So
the 40+ class right ahead of our row was pretty full also.
Yeah, that's pretty cool seeing that for sure. So, Rob, who do you guys have some people on board that's helping you get to the races?
Well, I'd like to thank you guys. Once you and all your troops. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be doing this in the first place. You guys need the biggest thanks. Pengilly's Power Sports, which is a kind of a small business that I dabble in. Amsoil, Slick Wash, Renthal, SSI Graphics for the purple, and Liat.
Gotcha. Yeah, those. It may sound funny, but walking away, I don't get to see enough people on the starting line, believe it or not. My mind's always going 100 mile an hour in that starting line, whether we're getting ready or we're getting ready to drop the board. Yeah. So honestly, I don't see the colors as much. That may sound funny, but when we get out there on the track and we see you guys come in, if everything's going good, we get a couple videos and pictures that we're able to share. I think we shared with you a couple that, maybe today even.
Yeah.
But that's when you really notice some of these machines and the new, the new colors and everything. And it's just yours looks really sharp. I mean, that has to be one of the absolute top ones this weekend. I thought that really caught my eye. And I'll be honest with you, I'm typically not a purple guy, and that caught my eye. That's a sharp machine, very sharp.
Really?
Thank you.
I thought Trenton Acres machine, I believe it was Trenton's. And the night of production was pretty nice looking this weekend.
Yeah, very nice.
So.
See how this works, Rob?
Yep.
I can pronounce your name. I don't make fun of your age. Chris can't pronounce your name. Makes fun of your age. I like your machine, and he's pointing out somebody else that's better.
I was just, pointing out.
You should remember that when you go through scoring next time.
Oh,
We'll file that one away.
I didn't get to see much of the adult. We had some issues with scoring. I got to see maybe.
Paul said he was leading the overall at one point in time. He said,
Yeah, Tucker Wyatt, as we kind of announced earlier, there's something going on with his transponder. So he wasn't scoring at all. So it was a manual score. So when we see Paul come through, or Tucker's number is 816, Paul's number is 16. So when you're trying to hurry up and manually type in Tucker Wyatt's transponder or his race number, if you don't type it in quick enough before the next guy comes in, it was cutting off the 8 and it was applying it to 16. Well, who's 16? Paul. Paul was getting Tucker Wyatt's laps. So that's why we have to go to backup scoring, and we're sitting in there most of the adult race comparing what was scanned and also the backup scoring and make sure everything's in line. So we'd caught that. We were trying to let Paul know that wasn't correct, because if somebody was looking at live scoring, I think Paul ended up with a 4-second lap, or it was a very quick lap. So we knew it wasn't right. So, as we go along, we try to adjust that. Because it did mess up the AA class. There's some confusion with that transponder. So it's on our list to do. So next time that we see Tucker at the next race, we're going to try something different on his machine. I think he's got a metallic visor, and that's what's causing the issue. So we'll probably have to put the transponder on his machine somewhere.
No, you got to do a good job scoring. Don't get me wrong. You guys do real good.
Nope, I was just kind of like, it was a good lead in, Rob, as to trying to explain some of the scoring stuff that we're having issues with. But overall, at the end of the day, it gets fixed and we can move on, and everybody scored right.
Yeah, I can remember the days of the manual scorecards you had to write on your fender.
Yeah,
that's the vintage I am.
Well, Rob, I don't know if you understood the way I dissected what Chris just said, but I think we just found out who Paul was giving them adult beverages to the night before.
I did not have a beverage like that with Paul.
Just to clarify that, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Rob, we sure appreciate you coming on board, and nothing but respect out of all of us for what you do on the track, and your son Braun, and we just we cannot say thanks enough for making that long trip every time. You definitely make up a big part of our series, and we're very fortunate to have you.
It's our pleasure. And once again, thank you guys. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be making the long trip.
Well, we're just lucky to have a really good team behind us, and we very proud of each and every one of them. So, well, thank you, and you have a safe trip. I guess we're coming to your home track next, aren't we?
Yeah, if you want to call it that. Yeah.
So cool. Well, we always look forward to seeing you, Rob. So,
well, thanks for having me.
Yep. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
Tell you what, them guys, as you call it, the older class, I call it the legends.
The more experienced. Yeah, I got it.
It's just fun watching them. They always have fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're look at the overall. I mean, you're talking the plus 50 classes. He was knocking down 41st overall at 140 or whatever it was riders. That's really cool. So, yeah. So talking about coming through scoring and stuff, I seen you guys had getting ready for a side-by-side guy here. You guys had some issues with scoring, not really scoring, but with the wind, didn't you?
Yeah, we had, you got the racers were fighting the track and we were fighting the easy ups for most of the day. It got towards the end of the day and the wind gusts we felt were picking up a little too much. We had tie downs. We had several things on the scoring easy up, and it felt like it was going to take off at any moment. So we made the decision right before the UTV race, because it would have been a lot easier, because I got to shut down the whole scoring system to go ahead and remove the easy up, remove the RFID reader that reads all the transponders, and we have moved to or elected to do hand scoring, basically, or stopping every UTV, and we would manually enter in their race number. It turned out good. I want to thank all the UTV racers. They were all very nice. They all stopped. They waited until they got the signal from Kim to continue on with their lap. So it worked out, and just something that we felt we had to do. And so we didn't ruin another easy up.
Well, I appreciate making that quick decision. That's because easy ups aren't cheap. So I'm glad to hear the racers adapted over to it and everything went well.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah.
Another thing that was nice down there too, Chris, with the wind and stuff, I seen them kind of hiding behind the barn there a little bit, but Toby Vanderpool and his wife was there as the title sponsors for the race. Got to talk to them a little bit and stuff, but the boys, they put on another good show and just an absolute stacked, AA class there. I think they was a 4th and 5th, if I remember right. I don't have it in front of me, but
that's correct.
Yeah, 4th and 5th. So, God, that was a tough class. So, but Vanderpool Construction, they've been with us for a long time, and we can't thank them enough for being there too. That means a lot having them guys there. So we got any more guests tonight?
Oh, we have one more guest. Call him the Mr. President, Dan Hill 2024. Dan joining us here. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, guys.
So you not only raced the utility class for 2 hours, you thought it wasn't enough. You turned around and jumped into UTV and raced it for an hour. How are you feeling, or were you feeling on Sunday?
Bad. It was real bad. Especially after sleeping in the truck Saturday night on the way home. It was even worse. Yeah. Thankful for heated seats, but yeah, I couldn't walk straight for probably 2 days. I'm just now getting over it on my back of my shoulders and triceps, and I get to go do it all again next weekend.
Well, that had to have been probably one of the tougher tracks to have done that at.
Yeah.
It was rough. It was fun. It was a fun track. I mean, being on a borrowed quad, not really knowing how the brakes worked on it, I about killed myself a few times. Once, like right off the start into the hole shot corner, and it just I thought I was on a sport quad and went to grab a foot full of foot brake, and it just locked all 4 of them up, about threw me over the bars multiple times. And finally, I just quit using the brakes altogether and just used the engine brake and just limped it the rest of the way through the race. And it was a fun track.
So you had a unique situation this race. Your machine, your utility machine wasn't quite put together or ready for the race, and somebody stepped up. You talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, at first I put a feeler out there to see if there was any quads I could borrow, rent, or whatnot, and I got an overwhelming response from all the race family trying to offer me quads, and I ended up going with the Hayes family with Alex's Renegade, and they were already coming, wasn't out of their way. They had room, so I figured, I'd give her a shot and jumped on it, and it handled everything I threw at it plus more. So it was fun. Hopefully I can get my machine ready for the next round, but we'll see. There's a lot of fabrication left to do on that thing, trying to transform it 16 years ahead from its time.
Well, you had to pick a good race to be on a utility, didn't you?
Yeah. I didn't have a single problem underneath the hills. I did all the different lines in the hill climbs, and that was mainly to make sure that my side-by-side would make it up all those lines. But
yeah, and those cricks and the rocks, that had to feel much better being on a nice cushy utility versus a sport quad, huh?
Oh, it wasn't that quick. It wasn't that cushy.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. You had to carry a lot more speed when you can't use brakes, so you kind of got to keep the momentum rather than charging into the corner or and then hitting the brakes and then going. So it wasn't as pushy as it could have been.
Gotcha.
Huh. So, is there any issues that you had during the race outside of your start for the ATVs that kind of arm pump?
Just horrible. I came into after the first lap, and I mean, you couldn't even push my arm in at all. It was pumped up so bad that it was just rock solid. And it was like that for the first 2 laps.
Yeah, you're about the 4th person I've heard had arm pump issues on Saturday.
It's not just that track. I've fought it forever. It is what it is. I can't get rid of it. It takes me about an hour to get rid of it, and then I'm playing catch up the rest of the race.
Yeah. Even my and I know you said all the time, but there's a lot of people who's affected by this just being the first race. My son Brock, I remember one time, not even quarter of the way through the first, Saturday, he's like, Dad, does it sound funny to tell you my thumb is so sore from, pushing the throttle, just getting back into it, and everything. It takes a little time to get back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to ask him. He's kind of made the transition back to the ATV. Talk a little bit more about it. What's the transition like?
It's easier being on a 4x4 than I think being on a sport quad. Transfer from the UTV to the ATV, just because traction isn't as big of an issue. It is a lot. This is my first time. I've always ridden sport quads before, so it's my first time on a 4x4, and so they are a lot heavier.
Mm-hmm.
They don't react the same. You don't even ride them the same. So it's a big transition there. But I mean, I wasn't sure how many tracks that my machine would fit in this year, my UTV. So I wanted still, to have something to race with the series. So I decided to, transition this Sportsman over into a race machine, and that way I still had something to race, and it's just becoming more of a process than I thought it was going to be.
Gotcha.
What's some of the stuff you're having to do to it?
In 2009, the rear A-arms back there in the independent suspension is a double A-arm. The newer ones, to be able to run a Fox shock on there, they have a single-sided upper A-arm. So I had to do a complete frame swap, and then doing that on my frame, the bulkhead in the front where the steering stem and all that stuff mounts to is part of the chassis. On this one, it wasn't. So I had to scramble and call Power Sports Nation up, that's been helping me out throughout everything and throughout the multiple years, and get the correct parts, and then make my power steering kit that was for the older year, not the newer year. So there's a lot of fabrication, but the diffs are in, the arms are on, that stuff's all working. So now I just got to work in the middle of the machine and then work outwards.
Yeah, I was kind of leading into that. I was hoping you had mentioned that Power Sports Nation, but that's you're in that situation. I get people call me all the time, and I say always check with Power or PSN, first. They don't got a ton of stuff for the sport quads, but man, if you're looking for parts for like utilities and your side by sides, I don't know of a better place to be looking out there.
Yeah, you won't find a better place. They have, especially if it's a Polaris. Anything Polaris, they've got millions of parts. They're starting to get more stock of the Can-Am stuff, even the newer stuff, the X3s. I mean, they help me out with a bunch of parts on my race machine, on my Can-Am. So, I mean, huge in the utility side by side world. They are starting to get a few more sport quads, but I mean, it's definitely worth the look on their website before you go anywhere else or give up looking.
Absolutely. And I tell everybody around here, I know you're fair. What are you, probably an hour from them, maybe?
I'm an hour 45.
Hour 45. Okay. Yep. I tell everybody around here that, it's a long ways out there. Man, I've ordered stuff, and I'm always amazed on how quick I get stuff from them. If not the next day, it seems like the following. It's there. Yeah. Every time it's been here before I ever thought it would be. So definitely a great company to get affiliated with if you're and the thing is we're talking racing obviously tonight, but boy, if you're just a trail rider, or something, man, it's just, they've got, I see their posts every week about, new stuff coming in, and boy, I mean, it seems like all of our racers go out and ride with buddies, around their areas, and there's so many. I think more stuff gets torn up there on the weekends than they do racing half the time,
Yeah.
But I always tell everybody, man, check out PSN. So that's really cool when you mention you're kind of switching stuff over from year to year stuff, and it's just a great place to be able to check with the Dickies out there.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. If you haven't been out there, and you're in the area, drive out there. It's a real cool place to see. If they're not busy, you might get a tour of the place. It's pretty impressive on how they have everything set up and know where everything's at right away.
Yeah. So not to get off topic there, but I just flashed what Joe Nelson. So I did see Joe's post on his Facebook that he was looking for some parts after last weekend for his daughter's machine, and he's already got it. Got the parts yesterday. So that's 2-day turnaround tops. That's quick service. So shout out to PSN.
Boys,
Nice. On the boys.
Yeah.
And Miss Diane. You can't forget about Miss Diane.
No. She runs the place, doesn't she?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody else is, might speak up a little louder, but she's the face of the place. That's for sure.
We all know who runs the place.
So,
yeah.
So as we transition over to the UTV, how'd that race go?
That went better than I thought. A lot better than I thought it was going to. Being in a brand new machine, as wide as it is, and never driving it before, and literally finished the last bolt at like 3:00 and then loaded it up and headed to the track. And it was very, very nerve-wracking the first couple laps, with everything that went on, and then trying to stay between the trees and not hit trees, and just but it was a lot. It went a lot better than I thought it would. A lot better. It's it really, really. I've always told myself to look through the trees, not at them, and I caught myself looking at them, just because of how wide I was. And it's there are some trees out there that have scars, and it's gonna happen, but
So that you kind of talking, you kind of hinted at first lap. So there was an incident, first lap of the UTV race. Kind of what, from your perspective, what did you see coming up on the 911 machine?
All right, so we're going through the woods, and he's driving like an old lady. Just super slow, stopping everywhere. Thought he had it in park, and then he blows the corner, and he gets passed by 2 people. And then he tries to turn it on, and next thing I know, I see smoke. I'm like, oh, there went the ghost. He let the ghost out. And then we go a little bit further. There's more smoke, and he's still going. I'm like, wow. And all of a sudden, he's roasting marshmallows. So I get pulled up on him. Greg's in front of me. Greg pulls off to the right. I go to pull off to the left. I see Big Joe running from outside the track to the track. And then I get pulled over, and then everybody's rushing. Everybody's out of the car before me because I'm already dead tired. Somebody already made me get out of the car once when I was already strapped in before the race. So I'm not saying names, but so I waited, and then I saw everything was good and everything's under control. And in some of them situations, the more is not the merrier. So I saw it was under control. And after the rest of the class passed us, we just kind of eased back onto the track and took off.
Huh. Well, that was a couple people stopped to help that situation, correct?
Yep. I stopped. Greg stopped and got out. Dustin Cowan stopped and got out. Luckily, I gave Greg one of my big fire extinguishers that I had for the Ultra 4 series I run. And that's what he used for that race. And he had it with him, and they were able to get the fire under control. Get Chad out of the car, which is the main thing.
Right.
Yeah. So, pretty serious. We're all concerned at first, but you can all joke about it now. Everybody's safe, right? Made it out okay. Those who maybe not have heard, Chad had a little, it was an oil leak. One of his hoses came out, brand new hose, it split, right? And the caused pretty much an oil fire, correct, in the woods, probably a couple miles in.
Yeah, a couple miles in, yeah.
So we think those who stopped, Dustin stopped and Greg stopped to make sure the fire was put out and everybody was okay. Very good sign of sportsmanship. When we're not always, or track crew can't always be at every corner and every place all at the same time. They're probably spreading out at the time since it was right off the start. So it's good that, we stop for our fellow racers and make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Joe was there already. Like before I even got up to him, Joe was probably 10 feet from his door before I even got to him.
Yeah.
He saw what was happening and got off his machine and got down there quick.
Very cool. Obviously, we don't want this stuff happen at all, but it's so refreshing to hear. First lap, 3 of the competitors that I could honestly say all 3 of you. I think most people would say are going to have an impact on the finish. And are choosing to get out and help your fellow racers and stuff. And that's just always refreshing to be able to hear that stuff like that. So,
yeah. It's just an eye opener. It can happen anywhere, not just UTVs. ATVs can catch fire too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a bummer that's happened, but it's kind of an eye opener too. And kind of want to just challenge everybody to maybe get a donation jar going up at scoring. We all put $1 in or something and, buy some fire extinguishers and some mounts for the track workers to have on their machine. So, because ATVs don't carry them. I mean, if it happens with an ATV, you're just going to get off it and watch it burn. Your hundreds and hundreds of dollars just burning to the ground. And I mean, if we want to do something like that, I'd be willing to put, $50 of the purse that I won in the jar to start and get some extinguishers for the track workers. And that way, everybody's safer.
Yeah. And we have several right now that lots of times we'll set out. You don't have, but they're always usually in a spot where right by the motorhome where we know we can get them. But yeah, it's not the same as having them right there, but probably just need to get them. Some of us have the boxes to put them in. But might be something we just need to make sure on the machines, ready to go. So we have had that before. I don't know if you remember St. Charles, we had one.
Yep.
They roasted marshmallows on. So as
Well,
you say,
Brad's machine roasted marshmallows last year too. He just wasn't driving it.
right? Yeah.
Von Zommeren roasted some. I mean, there's been numerous ones. I saw quads burned down. I think we had one I think it might have been St. Charles or one of them over there. Thurman.
Yeah.
One
St.
of them
Charles.
places.
Yep.
Was it? Yep.
Yep. So, yep. Good things to learn from. That's for sure. So cool. So what's Dan got in his future? What's your plans? I know you got a lot going on this year.
Yeah, I got a Ultra 4 race next weekend down in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I come back, I'll re-prep the machine, get ready for Fort Dodge on, first week of May. Plan on racing both classes there again. I'm going to race both classes wherever both machines will fit. So I'm really hoping that it's going to fit that way. I can race this machine for the Heartland too, because they did change. They got rid of that race that I was concerned about for the Heartland. It's no longer a race anymore for Ultra 4. So I would like to have a chance to come back and defend my title. It's just, matter if my car is going to fit or not. So
yep, it'll fit.
I think it should. There's a couple spots that I might have to make a new trail or something, but I mean,
yeah,
we'll find out here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and when we get up there, that's a lot of that first race that we do is taking a look for the future, for the Heartland, the way we lay it out and stuff. But that's one thing we're looking at is trying to get a minimum of 72 around the track. The Heartland, I believe, is going to be even wider than that's going to be able to get around there the way we're going to lay it out. So
nice. We could really grow our numbers with these wider machines. I mean, I was against it for so long, and then just branching out in other races and stuff like that, and seeing and just talking to people, even in my area, that they have all these trail machines, but everybody wants the biggest and baddest machine. But guess what? They're 72-inch wide. So They all thought they couldn't come race, and now I'm showing them that you can come race and you can be competitive with the wider machines.
Absolutely. So we had a bunch of guys call about the Heartland this year. I wish I could tell you their names, but they're in Nebraska, and they got wider machines. I believe they're used to the short course stuff, and they were already calling about the Heartland to get signed up. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good track for the wider machines. So cool.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer it's going that way for the for the 64-inch cars. But I mean, like this last track, I mean, I fit everywhere. It doesn't have to be a super highway for the 64-inch machines for a 72-inch car to fit. So I mean, it could be technical, but tight and technical and so forth. I mean, so You know, you might get some complaining from them guys, but I mean, I think it was the best of both worlds at this last track. We had some off camber, technical, tight, fast, elevation change, rocky, water. I mean, this track was everything. It was fun.
Yeah. Good way to get the year started, huh?
Yes.
Count was up a little higher than it was, last year and stuff. That's nice.
12 cars on the open line. That's the biggest it's been in a long time.
Yeah.
We're talking like pre-COVID numbers.
Yeah, that was very nice to see. So, and we didn't have, I think at the end of the day we had, was it 2 cars that had to be towed back, Chris?
Mr. Hambley's had his towed out.
That was a bummer.
He was right up there that first lap when you guys
I
got
caught
to
up with him
me.
once.
Yeah, you
And
guys
he broke
got to
right
me
through me.
there at that the double line on that rocky hill. That was, I think he was second, maybe if I remember right, coming into.
He might have been first at that time.
I think he was. I think he was
Yeah,
first.
he was in the lead for like the first lap or two, and then something happened. I went in a limp mode, and I caught back up to them guys, and I honked, and he let me around. No, I honked, and he let me around. Then I went in a limp mode. He got back around, so I was like, well, I'm not going to honk again at him. So I just stuck with him and pushed him, and we were moving at a good clip. And then we get back to that same section, and he went to take that right to drop in, and the whole wheel folded underneath. I'm like, man.
Oh man.
No.
Right in front of me. Yeah. Like it did some pretty good damage too, he said.
Okay, just can't buy luck.
No, that's what I was telling my co-pilot in the car, Caleb. Like, we're just going to ride with this guy. He never gets to race. He's always broken the first lap. Kind of know the feeling. And and that happens like no longer than a minute later.
Doggone it. I'll admit, I try not to root for one person over the other, but I was really happy to see him up there, that first lap. It's kind of cool to see that. He deserves it. So, but, well, cool, man. Dan, we sure appreciate it. You're starting to remind me. Do you remember Jason Goody?
Yes.
Remember when Jason did all the promoting to be the, what was it? The most popular racer. We had that vote one year. He was putting the signs up and vote Goody and everything. And now I keep hearing all this stuff about vote for Dan Hill for president. It always kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
So
that was an Andy Warren thing way back when, and it just kind of stuck.
Oh yeah. Well, that's cool. Dan, we sure appreciate everything you guys are doing, you and your family and stuff. And, I hope this, your brake line really takes off. I hear a lot of people talking how you've helped them solve the soft pedal issue, and stuff. So now having you with us for the 4-wheelers and the side-by-sides, that's pretty cool. So definitely thank you and your family for the impact you're having on our sport.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So do you have anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah. Starting off with you guys, track workers, the crew, everybody in my pits that helps me out at the track and helps me have fun at the track. Of course, FP Racing, Chad and Amy with Dr. Power Sports, Power Sports Nation, we've already talked about, Cam Wow, Todd, Liam, Diane, all them guys up there. Austin and Adam over at Spider Graphics. Obviously, you didn't get to see it this race, but hopefully by next race, you'll see what the car's going to actually look like this year. I got CT Raceworks in my corner. They've been in my corner for quite a few years with my suspension. Picked up MRT tires this year. Smart choice, great tires. I didn't have a single problem on any of them hills at all. And then obviously I got tire spines in them. They're the Ultra 4 legal ones. So running a 33-inch tire with a 27-inch spine. Higher speeds, you could feel it, but it's worth having the extra insurance. Can-Am, of course, helps out where they can. KWI is my clutch sponsor. And then G-Force suspension. That there was probably one of the hands-down best thing I did to my machine this year. I literally got the shocks back from Gary and them guys, bolted them on, went and raced, and I don't know if I've ridden a more plush machine. It was like I was on clouds. The rough stuff, that long rough section after the last water crossing before you come out to the pit row, I mean, I don't think I'd have lifted once there over any of that. Even coming over that ditch out the jump, just stayed in all the way around. I mean, he does amazing work. You need suspension work done, definitely look him up.
Gotcha. Wow.
Very cool.
Quite the list.
Yeah.
Well,
Dan,
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Kind of always get the insight, racer's view, how things went on.
Yeah.
But yeah, good luck at round 2. Hopefully we'll see that utility machine there.
I'm hoping so. I'm not looking the greatest, but I'm hoping so. I really like it's one of those things where I've ridden it. It's been not a new machine, but I've had it for years. It's been out the river. And so I'm comfortable on it. So I'd like to see how well I can do with something I'm comfortable on.
Gotcha.
Very nice. Well, thank you. Sorry we went a little long there for you, but we had a lot of cool guests on tonight and stuff. And
I took a nap in the middle. I'm good.
Oh,
That's
we're
what
talking
we're
about
doing.
probably when we were talking about scoring, you took a nap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Beat me to that punch.
All right, Dan, you have a good luck at that next race, and then we'll see you at Fort Dodge.
Yep, we'll see you.
All right. Thanks, bud.
All right. So I know that there was some stuff that you and I want to kind of finish up, talk about registration and that stuff. But I see a couple comments in here. I'm going to go ahead and throw them up here. One was a quick reminder that all the UTV drivers need to check their fire extinguishers. So there was an issue. Joe tried to grab one and it was empty. So if we can, not only will we work on getting the track crew some updated fire extinguishers, maybe we'll also ask, the UTV drivers to check theirs as well. Because I believe the plan is to check the machines for a updated fire extinguisher at round 2.
Yeah, and another problem that we had, from what I understand, I wasn't at that situation, but I heard a couple of them grab theirs, and just from being washed and not needing to take it off for some time, it was rusted and hard to get off. So that's what we're going to ask everybody, is to make sure that they're checking their fire extinguishers before that next race. On the line, we will go through and check them and make sure they can take them off, and that there is stuff in there, and then put them back on to make sure they're ready to go.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And here's another suggestion. I had the conversation this week. Somebody, to reward those that are stopping and checking on others in a legitimate manner, to get some time rewarded back at the end of the race. It's a good idea, good suggestion that's brought up. I think this is something that we can look into this year. I mean, there's got to be some justification to it about like how long. Do we do a set amount? Does the person who got helped have to confirm it? So this is something that, the racers create the rules. Maybe this is something we look at and we talk about it at the banquet.
I think it's something to always bring up. I will tell you right now, I don't know. You know how I work with this stuff. It's always not the best. I think you earn the points that you are, and I've just always been impressed. I've very rarely ever seen anybody in our series that haven't stopped to help a fellow driver or racer, whether it be ATVs or side by sides. I'll tell you really quick a little story. This last weekend, we had a little 50s got connected out on the track, and the 150 couldn't go anywhere, and the other one didn't leave because he wanted to make sure that one could take off. And I heard the other one say, "No, you can go ahead and go. Are you sure?" And Chris, I'm talking about 5, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds talking like this. So that's just really, really cool, and no matter what we do, and I'm not saying it can't be done, but I don't care if you have a trophy or plaque or, time to put back on. Nothing compares, or shouldn't compare in my mind, to that guy that you see do that, and a handshake and a thank you, because that's just something special, When we start giving time back, I think that's going to be a very hard situation, to break that down. But I definitely understand the thought behind it. But yeah, it's the racers thing, so we can definitely bring that up for sure.
Yep. What was so we talked about UTV starting line. What are we going to do for ATVs for the starting line?
That's my bad. That was supposed to have happened this race. And I just want to make sure we got everything started this time. If we did get behind, be able to make it up. We started the side-by-sides, the last race of the day, 1 minute early. We started, was it 4:29? So I was glad to see that. I know we got behind there, I think 10 minutes on maybe the first race. But
Yeah.
So we did not get the tethers looked at. It's very hard. We just don't, I'm not going to make any excuses. I'll just put it this way. The next race, 100%, they will be checked on the line. So we just ask everybody, please get to the line. Don't show up, 5 minutes early. We want to be able to do the national anthem and everything. Right there, 5 minutes, 10 minutes till to be able to start racing on time. But we will check everybody this next race, no matter if, how many people's there. We will go down the line and have them start it and check their tethers for every individual that comes through. We did have a couple issues not being hooked up, asking people to hook them up and stuff. And that's just something we can't. We did have a little 50 that's throttle stuck at the end of the race, I ended up having to pull, I think they pulled the spark plug, cover off of it to kill it. So that's something we definitely got to check. First race, didn't surprise me. We might have had an issue or two, but we just got to make sure on our end that we're covering everything, and we will be checking those things on the line.
Yep.
That is youth, minis, and adults that we will be doing that with. So, Yep.
What else we learned? Chicane. So those are well, think Nimke, David Moline, Doug, Frank Bartlett. There's tons of guys helping us out early Saturday morning. We had an issue with our chicane coming into scoring was a little too tight, so we kept adjusting it more and more throughout the day. Lessons learned. We'll try to come up with something different. But I still like that thought of a chicane. It did slow everybody down. The adults were respectful. Nobody came in too hot and heavy, and nobody was trying to pass within that scoring area. So it served its purpose. We just need to adjust it a little bit.
Gotcha. It's good to know. I didn't make it up to scoring hardly at all this race.
Thank God.
But I am glad you had extra help up there, it sounds like. So
yes,
that all worked out good.
What other? Those we mentioned it earlier in the podcast. Thank you guys when you're coming up to register. I know some of you guys waited for over a half hour. It was first race pains. We thought we were sitting good Friday night. We had over 3/4 of everybody entered that for the race. It was just that last quarter kind of slows everybody down. We had new racers, and it just slowed everything. The new pre-entry form that we have going on. So those that, if you registered, no matter you did a pre-entry, you did the questionnaire for us, or you just filled out a form to race this last race, you are all going to be put into the pre-entry database. We're going to try to speed it along. So all 200 racers now will have a pre-entry form. So if you come up to scoring or to registration on Saturday morning or Friday night at Fort Dodge, you don't need to fill out an entry form. Just come right up to the registration gals or whoever's there and let them know that you're there to register. We'll pull your piece of paper out, and should be a very quick process, just a signature and transponder, and we circle the race that we're at. So
yeah, and the girls knocked it out of the park. They just were overwhelmed all of a sudden with so many people. But always remember, Chris, too, if you do need extra help, all you gotta do is yell, and I'll be up there to help you at registration too.
I think the girls are okay by themselves. I mean, you stick to what you do, sitting on your quad.
Oh.
And then scoring. We had some hiccups with scoring. We mentioned it during the adult. Probably 10 transponders didn't match up. There was some sort of issue. So that's what we were working on. We did get everything fixed and verified before the end of the race, so we could go on and do awards and didn't slow the show down at all.
Very nice.
Oh.
Yeah, I know you guys made a lot of changes on the fly there, especially with the tent and stuff too. So
Yeah.
much appreciated. So another thing with the side by sides, Chris, I want to throw in there is we did have a couple issues where window nets got ripped down, during the race and stuff, and that's something that we'll definitely be checking on too to make sure window nets are up, and stuff like that. So first race, a lot of that little stuff that we will definitely get corrected. So
yeah. So
yeah, speaking of moving stuff on the fly, Trace and I have been talking and stuff, and we sure appreciate everybody from top to bottom that helps in the series, behind the scenes and stuff. And I've been thinking there's seems like there's always something that pops up at every race, that we have to deal with, whether it be scoring or track or something. So what we decided, Chris, is we're going to out of all the people that help out on the track and stuff, Trace and I are going to pick a couple different people. And one thing that we looked at doing this is we try to say thank you and everything to the people, but sometimes it's just not enough if you ask us. So what we're doing is we realize that when people leave their families to come help us at the track for the racers and stuff, that obviously they are away from their families in time. So we want to do just a little fun thing we're going to start doing. We're going to start at this last race and do it all year long, but we're going to give 2 certificates out all year long. And that is going to go to track workers, people that help, whether it be the day of the race or all weekend, depending on the situation. But what we're going to do is we picked a movie theater, and we can always work on this, but we picked a movie theater over there in Altoona. I can't even tell you the name of it right now. We're not advertising, and we don't have a deal with them. It's just something that we're doing. But we're going to start giving a $50 gift card out to 2 different people we're going to choose. It's just kind of I don't want to call it a hard worker award. It's more of a thank you award for, stuff that pops up and everything. So this time, I don't know if we'd hit our head or not, but we want to give Paul Sirk is going to get one of them. And
I think you hit your head.
But the other one scares me, Chris, because beyond a shadow of a doubt, we both said we want Chris McKean to have one.
Thank you.
So there's just so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see, and I know a lot's been thrown on you this year and stuff, and with the website and helping get everything lined up and fixed and everything, and the stuff you've been doing with the t-shirts and everything. So what we're going to do is just give a $50 gift card to both you and Paul's family, and it's you can use it how you like. We're expecting maybe a couple movie tickets and some treats or something, but just a way that you guys can go out with your own family and hopefully you're eating popcorn and thinking, man, I love working at that race. So, but thank you guys. Like I said, we want to do that each time now, and Paul Sirk and Chris McKean will be the first ones that get it. So we'll be getting that to you guys.
Well, thank you again. So we haven't talked anything, but there's something behind me back here. So they are some RC UTV cars. I have 5 of them. So we kind of haven't really talked about this. I just picked them up yesterday. So I thought, I talked with some of the gentlemen that were on the podcast tonight, and I'm going to throw it out to those that are listening. Help me out. How am I going to give these away? Ideally, I'd like to give them to some kids, do something at the races, but there's 5 of them back there. I got 3 blue and 2 red. Come up with an idea and help me out how to give these away.
That's pretty cool.
It's my little challenge to those that have stuck around and are listening.
Yeah, that's cool.
So.
And I'm taking you had a busy week because I'm not seeing anything interesting on a shirt tonight.
It's been a busy week. I think I got home enough to kiss to have a a 5-minute quick dinner with the family and come down and prepare for the podcast tonight. So it was a very long day at work today. So I apologize. We'll make up for it next week.
There we go. Well, Chris, I don't think I have anything left. I know we've went extra, but first race of the year, a lot of stuff came up, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next race already. But we're already getting the guests lined up for next week, and
Yes,
I think it was a good one, and I appreciate going just a little extra long tonight.
yep. Shout out to Elbow Grease. She knows who she is. I see that a comment from Joe.
Oh, really?
Don't forget the banner stretcher lady, aka Elbow Grease.
Very cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys all for sticking around. We'll be next week. We're hoping to have some good results to share from what is this, round 4 GNCC? If I can count right.
Yeah,
Round
I wish
4.
so.
Good luck to those that are racing in the event this weekend. We'll kind of keep an eye on you to see how you guys do. Other than that, enjoy. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, Chris. We'll see you guys.